She didn't do it. As the assistant prosecutor, the assistant state attorney in that region, operating in that capacity, she would have known every drug offender that comes through was tagged by westr. Somebody should have gone, oh my God, superstar. This cop, we got to bring him in, find out what he's doing, right or wrong. The prosecutor was feathering her nest. She has plaques. She bragged about it to me that she was 100% conviction rate, and she was going to put me in prison. And I'm like going, let's dance, lady. You want me straight up? Let's go. She says, you need an attorney. I said, no, I'm going pro se. I will represent myself against this crooked operation. And you know what they did? They posted an old school wanted picture of me in the courthouse at Jackson County and filed a trespass order. So they brought charges, then filed a trespass order so I couldn't come into the courthouse. Anybody that stands up to them, they commit a crime again. There's multiple crimes. My picture stayed up in the courthouse right next to Andrew Jackson up there. Me and Andrew Jackson. For 9 months. An old school wanted poster. My understanding is everybody in the courthouse had my picture in their desk because I was considered dangerous. Ultimately, they unilaterally, with no testing, said that I was mentally impaired as they were moving towards a Baker Act issue, which is a technique they use. What a lot of people don't realize is if they move towards a Baker Act and you reject, say, do you mind being tested? If you say no, they can detain you for 45 days to study you because the judge determined you needed to be studied. So if you ever reject it, they got you. So what they do in that county is if you reject this criminal political system that's underway, criminal prosecution, they incarcerate you for being nuts, and then once they incarcerate you for being nuts, detain you, whatever, they strip your voting rights, they strip your gun rights and all like that. Now you're a half-class citizen, and it's a scheme. They've been doing this. See, Chattahoochee's right down the road. The oldest mental institute in North America is right down the road, and they've used these mental schemes against everybody they can. It's a scheme. And the state makes a lot of money off of it. They run rednecks through prison like a cattle drive. One thing I found with the westr cases, almost every single case was tied to a young girl. The young girl was not the focal point, but they removed someone from civilization so the young girl could be accosted, entangled in some illicit scheme. You're crying. You know all 33 people. Do you realize each one is tied to a very attractive young girl? Are you okay?
Probably has a child.
Are you okay?
Wow.
All 33 of the people are tied to an attractive young lady that was never directly connected by way of the prosecutor of the investigation because they're hiding the scheme. What I noticed in many cases, a cute young lady, and I offended a lot of people. I offend people. I'm offending people left, right, and center. That's, I'm good at it. Find what you're good at and do it. I was having interviews with these people to find out what took place. I met with some 75 people to my guesstimation. The records were removed and buried of these meetings were often disposed. And it got to where it was so routine. I would be talking to a young man who had an encounter with westr and drug, issues accused on him, and I would say, do me a favor, hang tight, and let me address something else. Because we met in a coffee shop, I turned to the young lady with him and say, when did you run into westr? And I remember one young man said, she's not it, leave her alone, it's about me. I said, do me a favor, and hang tight. When did you run into Western? And invariably they would say 2 to 6 weeks before the event. Now, as a sexual predator, and predator for other reasons, I found that Westr was often removing someone material to a young sporty girl's life so that he could get next to her. My understanding is from talking to numerous people that once he removed them from the picture by having him locked up for 30 days, he revisited to see if they were okay and needed consoling. Often dropping off chemicals, substance, whatever they needed to ease their issue, while slandering the young man. Now here's the thing. In a small community, if a 19-year-old boy gets picked up by law enforcement and goes to jail, say, if a 19-year-old boy gets picked up, you know, some of these guys are rough and tumble, fun-loving guys, big pickup trucks, loud mufflers. They drink a few beers, ride a few bulls. Maybe adrenaline junkies, fun-loving little cowboys. But once they get picked up and taken away, people go, aha, yeah, he used to run with so-and-so. And by way of reputation, their name is soiled. Sometimes their families turn on them. People all around them turn on them. They spend 30, 60, 90 days sitting in jail. They come out and their old people don't have anything to do with them because they're tarred. They have now manipulated the game. They hold him for 90 days. The girl's not there. His truck's gone. He lost his house, his boat. And all he knows is just thugs. I believe they're changing the trajectory of the lives of young people through these encounters. The guy's life, maybe he wasn't absolutely on track, but he's 19 years old. And it's now, instead of going to trade school or junior college or something, he goes away and he's making license plates.
Yep. Or fighting for the rest of his life.
Fighting. Or he winds up running with a dirty crowd because the dirty crowd's the only ones that take him in after he's outcast. The thing is, while he's locked up, they address the young lady. You know, very often, many of these young ladies have children. In a short period of time, they escalate the drug use of the young ladies through stolen drugs that law enforcement steals and provides until they eventually pick her up and the child goes away. They're trafficking children, aren't they? Is there any doubt?
Not to me.
How many times have you seen it? Once or twice?
Few.
A dozen? Not a dozen times.
I can only speak about.
Welcome, my name is Ted Whitten. I clearly need your help in reaching others. Your civil liberties are in jeopardy. Others need to know. Tell them. Watch to the end and share with your friends as if your life and freedom depends on it, because it may. It was demonstrated in Florida criminal court that Deputy Zachary Westr of Jackson County Sheriff Department in Marianna, Florida, was found guilty at trial of planting drugs in the cars of citizens at numerous traffic stops. Westr used the unconstitutional technique of proactive patrolling to initiate a search following a stop for a fabricated cause in the Teresa Odom stop. The taillight Westr claimed was faulty worked fine. The cause for the stop did not properly exist. The escalation for the search was without reason. The corrupt officer used proactive patrolling techniques to unlawfully access the personal property to commit a crime. This unconstitutional police technique is often used to strip persons of their personal property rights and is often in violation of the U.S. Constitution, Fourth Amendment rights for search and seizure. Westr's violation of constitutional rights facilitated crimes by law enforcement and the judiciary that continue to unfold. I find reason to believe this racketeering scheme and cover-up extend all the way to and through the federal judiciary. The federal judiciary and court system is corrupt beyond measure, as you may soon see. The news media to this point has missed the biggest crime of all. Those who partner with westrs have dodged responsibility, yet common sense would tell you there is no way he operated alone. In this series of open mic interviews, we reveal accomplices and accomplice angles to include judges, prosecutors, defenders, attorneys, and others involved in racketeering and protection racket crimes. Understand, in a RICO crime, each individual is guilty for each event of the organization. Wester's crimes and the cover-up involves many people. Our interview begins with a hidden camera discussion with Teresa Odom, whose traffic stop video helped expose Zachary Westr. You might recall Teresa was the lady in the small white truck, see the video link, in which Westr concealed the drugs in his left glove, moved the drugs about the vehicle until his crime of fraud was perfected, and she was charged, incarcerated, and convicted of drugs by Westr's accomplice, the prosecutor. Understand, the prosecutor's office was a partner in the crimes and took measures to avoid being entangled. The state attorney and others in Panama City, Florida, routinely partner crimes with law enforcement by tampering of evidence and records. Yet the governor of Florida fires prosecutors for not following his rules. But what about those committing crimes of malicious prosecution and tampering of public records? Watch and see what unfolds in these 100+ interviews. The governor's office and that of Inspector General appear to be covering color of law crimes in the northern Florida districts and presumably elsewhere. It is criminal RICO facilitating. The government has gone rogue and law enforcement is operating as organized crime. Folks must realize their civil rights are gone. Links in the description below will be added to reveal associated crimes. If you do not see the links, remind me in the comments and I will post the links. Share with a friend quickly, because the retaliation by the state, law enforcement, and their associated criminal partners is anticipated. This will likely become large enough to involve the governor's office. Share with everyone you know. Folks, we are taking great risk here to bring you some rather colorful deceptions from the hoax judicial process you depend on for your civil rights. We need some real-life superheroes to share this presentation at a high level with deep commitment. We want you to be a part of the judicial revolution coming soon. Help us to help you. Share this with the brightest people you know. This is a modern David and Goliath saga. The uncircumcised Philistines will be exposed. The federal judiciary has been weaponized to oppose the nation they serve. Widespread fraud in judicial proceedings are being used to mask a host of judicial racketeering schemes, including schemes by sitting judges committing frauds to conceal motions to impeach the judge and court officers for corruption and offenses. Frauds to suppress material evidence recur often. The lawyers of this nation, operating in failure mode, are undermining the destruction of this nation. Look at Congress and the Senate, full of lawyers doing what exactly? Attorneys in this country will not risk their career to expose the ongoing repetitive fraud and criminal racketeering by judges and the judiciary. My law career as an attorney, in fact, appears nearing its end. It appears I have nothing to lose. All forms of collaboration opportunities on this project will be entertained. Subscribe and share this video to receive notice and access to the uncut versions as they come available. We have many opportunities to partner and win. Thank you for your patience and participation in advance. There is something for everyone here. Pray for our success. Feel free to create short TikTok loops from this video and share with the world. Post your TikTok loop below the original video for extra traffic and subscribe to receive a special access offer. TikTok loopers, do loops with my Crooked Bastards excerpts and receive an autographed copy of my book, The Answer to Cancer, A Simple Solution for the Western Condition. Bloggers, post your opinion of this epic disaster and tag me in it, and we'll respond in kind and send you an autographed book. You twits on Twitter, share your thoughts and tag a video to stir the broader friends and followers you have. It is time to take back the nation from parasitic politicians. Feel free to demonstrate your IQ below in the comments and engage others. As we move forward dismantling things opposed to your freedom, we look forward to collaboration opportunities with well-grounded podcasters and power media players. Podcasters, I will reveal fresh, hot evidence in any and every podcast interview if you have me on your show. Also, I will facilitate your efforts to more than double your subscriber base. Fighters for justice must come together. Pray for this effort. The criminal operation being exposed is real. They oppose a national and a national and international threat through widespread systematic abuses of civil and human rights. A massive human trafficking effort underlies this enterprise. If you have the ability to notify the FBI or the DOJ, Department of Justice, please do so. There's a massive cover-up at the Florida governor's office, it seems. This type of color of law scheme in federal judiciary and related entities is a kind of government corruption harming our nation. The citizens have no means to correct it, and the attorneys are complicit with the schemes because they will not risk their career to save an individual case. Massive failures in the fiduciaries and oaths of office exist. Corruption in law enforcement is rampant with no oversight. At the time of launch, this effort is largely founded and funded by book sales. About the time the federal, state, and local government were revealed as unlawfully targeting and drastically violating my human and civil rights, I was launching a series of self-help books, including this one, CO2 and You, A Release from All Sickness. Thereafter, the governments of the world implemented a system to make you wear things to cover your face, which can lead to CO2 accumulation in your breathe there, thus initiating a series of health issues leading to a host of issues explored in this book. Get the Fix, presently on Amazon. CO2 and You, A Release from All Sickness by Ted Whidden and Doc Mathia. Link to the purchase is in the description. Watch and pray about retaliation. High-level corruption in law enforcement is protected through retaliation, framing, extortion, and a host of crimes by law enforcement against citizens as acts of intimidation. Further, those who push unconstitutional concept of proactive patrolling encourages law enforcement to violate your civil rights on the hunch of poorly trained law enforcement. It masks corrupt behavior as a scheme. This is government racketeering. The westr crimes are examples of what can occur through proactive policing. The governor and anyone pushing this agenda appear at war and in violation of the United States Constitution. Corruption at the federal judge level already impedes your civil rights, yet you will not become aware until you need them, and it will be too late. Share this with your favorite attorney. Advise them by joining our efforts they could win. However, remind them that all who oppose me are in fact facilitating a $16 billion RICO, which each individual facilitator is responsible for in full. Watch the drama unfold as we move forward towards launching, towards launching an attorney referral system to address your civil rights issue. We are currently seeking rap music artists and animators or cartoonists for collaborative projects soon to be released. Subscribe and get ready for the rollout. Share this around the world before it can be taken down. If you post this to your social media, then place the link in the comments under the original video. We will reach out to you. Keep in mind, Mr. Whidden is not an attorney. Mr. Whidden is honest, and that may preclude the ability for him to practice law. Whidden has explored legal misdirection and corruption in federal, state, and local judiciary and law enforcement. It is seen as his obligation under USC Title 18, Section 4, misprision of felony statutes to notify officials and to warn others. This method of notice is being tested because every lawful attempt to report has been met by officials who were and are corrupt in facilitating racketeering crimes of others. Mr. Whidden's mental faculties have been questioned by the state in their attempt to obscure their crimes. The federal government is complicit. See the link below. Publicly filed documents and notices have been obscured repetitively by Magistrate Michael J. Frank, Judge Margaret Casey Rogers, Clerk Jeremy Wright, Florida State's Attorney's Office, and others. See link below. Further to this, sheriffs in the region and other corrupt law enforcement began and continue targeting Whidden for pushing back against the color of law crimes against American citizens. See links below. It is with assurance crimes are widespread and patternistic. If Michael J. Franks is involved, it appears from my perspective there's a crime afoot. See link to impeachment below. Keep in mind, even lawful actions to further interrupt, obstruct, or conceal a person's First Amendment rights to expose a RICO or racketeering crime can result in charges for the RICO or racketeering crime. They're all complicit. There are links under our originally posted video that should serve you well. The best is yet to come.